Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. And this is going to be the final deck profile that we've been doing this week. And yeah, Charlotte Katakuri did take actually a bit of a hit because of the ban list, getting reject taken out of yellow, which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with, because I think that that card was absolutely insane. However, it's not that much to put a dent in yellow, so yellow is still going to be very, very strong in OP06. Katakuri was in place taking out Thunderbolt for reject for the time being, but now that that card is gone, I actually do think Thunderbolt is a necessity in the list, because you don't have a ton of removal. Gidatsu obviously being something, but for 4-cost cards, which there are very important matchups where your opponent might have Kuzan, this is kind of the answer. And I think that just having that card in general is just going to be very helpful for also potentially getting in range of 200 million volts Amaru. So I have 2 of each of those, and then to round up the events, we also have 2 of the 0-cost. I mean, you can put this at the bottom of your life. It's a great trigger that you can get, or you could potentially just use it as a 3k counter. So there are a lot of bricks in the list, so having this to clear up some of your potential hands that can just be a little like non-countery that you tend to draw into with yellow, this kind of solves a little bit of that issue. Now, I don't think this is like the end-all be-all Katakuri list. I think that this is just kind of it makes sense with reject being gone. Previously, I didn't think 8-drop Katakuri was necessary in the deck with reject, like, at all, because the objective was to play 7-cost Linlin, and if your opponent trashes life, that's good. It gets you closer to being able to use reject. If your opponent's giving you a life, I mean, that's just nice. That's great. More opportunities for triggers. You know, it takes longer for your opponent to end the game. So I had 7-cost Linlin at 4 of, but did take it down to 3 now. As well as a Monday down to 3 to put in the Charlotte Katakuri, because I do feel as though you need to have a little bit of an answer in some circumstances with the deck list for the 8-cost Moria, and you just don't unless you run this card. And if you can get that one out of off their board and into life, if they don't have a second one to follow up, a lot of the times this card can basically just win you the game. I do like the running the 2 of now without having reject, so I'm fine with this, but everything else is pretty standard. The 4 of pudding, you know, to be able to search out your Big Mom Pirates cards, find your Big Moms, maybe your Pero Sparrows, some 2k counters, your 7 Moms, all that good stuff. Onami, busted. Card is so good in trigger. Obviously, just being able to set up your life using leader effect, this is absolutely incredible. The 1k counter, fantastic enough just to have in hand, and being able to give banish to like your 10 mom or banish to Okiku or Kikunojo. It's your 7 mom. You can give banish to anything. It's really good. Even your leader just being able to swing 7 is a pain on its own. Charlotte Pero Sparrow at 4 of. Yeah, I mean, you can pick up your Thunderbolts off of this. You can also get any of your character cards. So, you already know. That's running at 4. Now, the card that we all wish would have got banned. Capone Besh. This terribly designed card is, of course, 4. I mean, there's no reason you would not run this card while it's still in the game. Fingers crossed. It takes a fat L one day. But, yeah, I mean, the card's broken. It can just win you games, and does tend to do that. 2k counter for a Monday. I think that this actually is potentially interchangeable. This is potentially interchangeable with Strusen, because now that we might see Red-Green Law coming back into the meta, I do think that a Monday as well as Strusen are very good ideas. I know that I actually even considered, like, should I drop Satori to have that? I mean, I think that would be playing around it a little too much, but I don't know. Just some ideas as to dealing with those one-cost blockers that do tend to be yellow's, you know, absolute bane of existence. The nice thing is, though, is that Almaru is actually a little bit more helpful now into the red-green law matchup, because you can get them to 1 life very, very easily, if not 0. And then you getting down to 1 life, just having 1 or 2 of these in hand might genuinely just win you the game. Sanji, of course, super solid blocker, can still be searched by Pudding, so you love to see that. Kikinoju, the fantastic OP06 edition of being able to heal a life, you know, for when your opponent swings into this. It kind of sucks playing against yellow because you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And as yellow, you're just eating good. So if your opponent doesn't attack into this, you basically have a 6 or a 7k swing every single turn. 2, most likely. 1 with leader, 1 with this. So pretty good. And if they do attack into it, more than likely you're just healing a life. Pretty good, you know? And this deck just has constant ways of healing. So it's fantastic. Gidatsu is kind of in there for just being able to deal with Kuzan, potentially some 3-cost cards here and there in certain matchups. Occasionally, actually, those 2-cost blockers that you'll find in the Perona as well as Gecko Moria matchups. Gidatsu's really nice for just being able to establish a body and KO those, get them off the board really fast. We all know Satori for the 2k counter. It is playable as well. Just kind of depends on what your hand and board state's looking like. 7 Mom is just great in OP06. It just feels as though anytime you play this, if your opponent isn't trashing a life, you're just winning now. If they are trashing a life, it's still not bad, but it wasn't as good as reject. So now playing into yellow, I won't feel as bad having to give trash a life. Like previously, they would play this a lot of the times. I would just give them 1. But now that I don't have reject as a problem, I can actually trash pretty, well, not pretty freely, but I can feel less bad about it. But yeah, 7 Mom, still a problem. Katakuri, we were talking about just being very strong into dealing with Gecko Moria. You can also bounce back your own Nami to put this in life and have Thunderbolt in life. I mean, I'm not running Shirahoshi in this list, but who knows? Maybe in the future, tweak it a little bit. I'm not sure if Onami is like a 4 of, but I just think this card's busted, so I don't know why I wouldn't run it at 4. And having this with Thunderbolt gives me 6 chances of like KO potential out of life. That's pretty dang good. You know, some solid odds there. 10 Mom, of course, being at 4. This card is, you know, this is what we're doing in yellow. We are taking life and gaining life, baby. So Big Mom, 12k stat line, healing, taking 1. It's good. It's searchable. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's very easily trashed with the 0-cost events. But overall, I don't think that the deck needed reject, so I don't think that it got a massive hit. However, I think that the build that, you know, maybe like a more standard build that people were using with OP06 in mind and having reject as maybe a 4 of or a 3 of in the list was very strong. And so it has changed that a little bit, that dynamic. And now I believe that Thunderbolt might be the answer, but I don't know for sure. I think there are plenty of resources that Katakuri can use here. Yeah, there's still a lot of strength to be had in this list, and I don't think that I don't know if this will be like the perfect like fleshed out list, but I like the idea of each of these cards. I just maybe need to tweak the ratios to find the sweet spot here and there. But yeah, guys, I know plenty of people that watch my channel especially in my Twitch channel, are big fans of Katakuri and big fans of Yellow. You guys know I got nothing but love for you guys, but I do give Yellow some flack. I think you know, the color seems a little bit cheesy sometimes, but I think that Katakuri is going to be in a very, very good spot for OP06. It's kind of scary to think about, but we'll see if Red Green Law maybe makes a little bit of a revitalization and changes up how players are playing the deck. But let me know your thoughts as always, guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. All right, peace.